Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Fantasy Football Podcast, where we are so excited to be here that we are currently putting our lives on hold. Martin here, he's missing his favorite show, The Bachelor. Me, I'm missing my weekly phone call with my mom. Tuesdays are, chat time. She's going to be very disappointed. And Andre here. Andre, what are you sacrificing for this podcast?
Time with my wife.
Wow. I think he means Call of Duty here. Before we get into football, Martin, would you like to give people a rundown of our social media and how they can contact?
Of course. Alright guys, so visit our website, ff-language.com. Again, that is ff-language.com. Follow us on Twitter at fflanguage for weekly podcasts every Tuesdays. Alright, now let's get into week 9. So, let's start with week 9 reviews here. Before the week even started, guys, what a disappointment. Deshaun Watson, torn ACL, goes out for the rest of the season. Oh, man. Definitely a Rookie of the Year candidate, nominee. The Texans players that are affected by this are, for me, DeAndre Hopkins, Lamar Miller, Will Fuller. All their fantasy value just goes down. I don't know by how much, but it definitely goes down with Deshaun Watson being out.
Yeah, I think the only other person or team affected this much by an injury were the Green Bay Packers. I mean, I feel like this is a very similar situation. Your quarterback goes down and everyone around you, their stock plummets. Pretty much, and if you look at last week, the Sunday's game, pretty much everyone stunk it except Hopkins, who actually had a last sort of touchdown towards the end. And Miller, guess what I call Miller, guys, by the way? An 8 to 10 points guy. That's what he seems to get. 8 to 10 points.
That's a solid RB2.
It's an okay one. It's an okay. Yeah, and guess what? He got 9.6 points. half the time.
Yeah.
Man, guys, you know what, though? The big takeaway for me from this game, or what I think of, is fight.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, hey, remember last week we talked about whether injuries affect a draft stock? I have a question, guys. Do you think fights, should we take into account like how often a person fights as to where they should be drafted? That's a new idea. Something to think about.
I'm actually surprised that AJ Green and
that made me really upset.
Didn't get suspended. They're playing next week.
Yeah, and here let me explain what happened, because if you didn't catch the game.
Okay, you saw what happened.
Let's compare. I actually, by the way, I looked at both fights at 25 speed, frame by frame, trying to figure out
okay, there's some intense film study. Okay.
And here's what happened. Okay, AJ Green, Ramsey shoved him. And then he was walking away. And then AJ Green proceeded to grab him by the neck, body slam him, threw 2 punches, which one landed, and then body slammed him again. Now, Ramsey's not innocent.
He threw more than 2 punches.
Yeah. But Ramsey is not innocent.
Okay.
Look, AJ Green in his career is a very tame wide receiver. He's like Larry Fitzgerald. So Ramsey had to do something terrible. But that doesn't excuse what he did. He was walking away, either way. Now, Evans, on the other hand, basically spearheaded into the guy, shoved the elbow in his face.
Oh, that was horrible.
Yeah, his head bounced off the ground, and then he tried to punch him before he got hit by the guy. And the reason is that AJ Green didn't get suspended is because he got suspended in-game, and that's their reasoning. But I still think it's ridiculous for AJ Green not to get suspended in-game.
Yeah, I was really surprised to find out that he didn't get suspended, but Evans did. Actually, my perspective is this. Evans was protecting his quarterback.
No, that's ridiculous.
Well, okay, I mean, it was excessive. It was
excessive,
but, at least he's standing up for his quarterback. That's my sort of perspective.
The quarterback pointed at the guy's neck. I mean...
Hey... But you know what's more interesting is that both of those guys, they got kicked out, or both of these fights were around halftime. And both of these guys got under 2 points for the game. Man, 2 stud receivers, both get in the fights. Do you think that maybe that frustration actually played a part in those fights because they were performing?
I don't. No. I mean, if you look at it, players underperform. It was Ramsey was clearly, the instigator in the case, and Evans was just, protecting his quarterback. But then there was also a fight in another game, which was the 49ers game. And I don't know if you guys caught that one.
I did not catch that one.
That one was no suspensions, but there was pushing. Carlos Hyde got in there. Carlos Hyde got shoved down. He got up. He
Yeah.
threw a few.
To our international audience, we just want you to know that fights aren't that common. Pushing and shoving is. Fights aren't that common, but man, it's crazy. 3 fights in a row.
1 week.
Speaking of disappointing receivers, we're talking about these top-notch receivers, and I want to actually quickly talk about Julio, who's up there touchdowns. Now, the disappointing thing about him is, that drop. Man, that was tough. 2 drops. No, 1 drop. 1 drop. Man, that was the easiest drop.
That is one of the worst drops I've seen.
Yeah.
In one of the most important situations in the
Yeah,
game.
I mean, a wide open 50-yard touchdown. Andre, I think you would have made that catch.
I think most of us would. How about Carson Wentz putting up 51 points versus Denver's defense?
I mean,
Carson Wentz had 25 fantasy points. Man, this guy, he's
and
every
that
week.
was interesting because he didn't have 200 passing yards, which is odd.
He did not. Okay, okay.
And I looked at it and I was like, look, Denver offense is one of the most pathetic shows in the league, and that really helped Carson Wentz put up those touchdowns.
So he had 3 touchdowns at halftime.
Yeah.
Wow.
And he ended up having 4 touchdowns at the end of the game.
And Ertz was out that game also.
Ertz was
by
out
the
too,
way.
yeah. And Aguilar had only 3.6 points with 2 receptions. So he was Alshon Jeffrey was pretty big this game. He was starting it a lot.
Yeah, this was an interesting game. I mean, they dominated a great defensive team. Look at their running backs, guys. I want to quickly drop a few stats of their running backs. And I want you to just kind of talk about which of these do you guys like going forward the most. So, Blount had 9 carries for 37 yards. Now, Ajayi had 8 for 71. He had 1 long one and a touchdown. Okay? So he did, I guess, better stats-wise. And then Clement, guys. Clement.
That guy.
3 touchdowns. 12 carries, 51 yards, 24.6 points. Smallwood, 5 for 25. Basically non-existent. How do you see this backfield going forward?
I definitely think Ajayi made a point, right even at halftime, that he's going to be taking over Blunt's job. But I did not see his name Clement. Like, I didn't even know that guy's name. Like, who is that guy? But he came up big, and I feel like it's going to be him and Ajayi fighting for the job.
I mean,
Blunt's going to be their goal line guy. What did you say? He got 9 carries?
Yeah, 9 for 37.
I don't think he'll be getting more.
But you have to also think the game was a blowout when Clement got a lot of his carries.
That's a good point.
True.
That's a good point. But I guess I'm now wondering, like, okay, but maybe he did enough to sort of push his way into that competition now, even though it was during a blowout. But is he sort of that new competition?
I think it's him and Ajayi fighting for the job.
And look, Blount, we know what you get from Blount. Like, he's okay. He'll get his, goal line carries, and he might do the job. Yeah, so right now, personally, I like Ajayi best right now. I feel like, hey, he's got a new start, and I think he could really beat out the competition. And then after him, Clement and Blount,
Yeah,
so they're pretty close. And then Smallwood,
he's gone.
He's
He's gone. Now, speaking of confusing backfields, yesterday's game. So, Green Bay Packers versus Detroit. Speaking of crowded backfields, guys, the Green Bay Packers versus Detroit yesterday. Man, this is so frustrating. I just want to. Can I have a minute to vent really quickly, guys?
Go ahead. Martin.
Just when you think you can figure things out, you give maybe solid analysis. I mean, this is just how unpredictable and frustrating fantasy football is. Like, pretty much everyone says, okay, Aaron Jones is more talented. Aaron Jones got the job. He's the guy, right? Ty Montgomery, I mean, I was actually thinking of, hey, maybe dropping this guy. That's what I was thinking of talking about. Now, yesterday, Ty Montgomery has 5 carries for 33 yards. Aaron Jones has 5 carries for 12 yards. And game script was part of it. But at the same time, you have to, like, how do you figure this backfield out now? I mean, fantasy football can just be so confusing. And this drives me crazy. Like, I still think Aaron Jones is the guy, but does Ty Montgomery, play into this enough that he takes away carries from Aaron Jones?
It's like a Seattle Seahawks backfield.
My take
Oh,
is,
great,
for
exactly.
now-
Another Seattle backfield. Yes.
For now, forget about the backfield. Just don't start any of them. That's easy.
Yeah,
Let it play
I'd
out.
agree. But this is a good example of how frustrating this can be. And also, one quick thing: their offensive tackle for Green Bay, Brian Balag, I don't know how to say his name, is out for the year. So just to kind of make things a little worse, and there you have it, folks. All right, folks, let's move on to a segment we call It's Not Me, It's You. This is where we break up with our once loved football stars. And Andre, would you like to start us off?
Yeah, gladly.
Whose heart would you like to break today? Who would you like to break up with?
It's someone that really broke my heart, and it's Terrell Pryor.
Oh,
Man, because coming into the
tears that were
season, man,
shed.
I was so high on you, Pryor. I loved you, man. I saw what you did in Cleveland, and I thought, you could do this again. So, for you, I give my 4th round pick, man. I bought you a $4,000 engagement ring. And what did you do? You gave me 3.9 points per game. And I'd like to blame you. I would, but I can't. I can't blame you. Fool me one time, shame on you. And you fooled me. You got 6.6 points in your first game. Not great, but you showed potential. Okay? Shame on you for that. But then a few weeks later, you get 14 points. And I was like, he's back. Fool me twice, shame on me. But then you go back to sucking, and what do before you play the 25th ranked defense? You apologize to the fans. And I'm like, he's apologizing to me. He apologized for his mistakes. And what do you do against the 25th ranked defense? What did he do? You got me 0 points. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, it's tough.
Fool me 3 times, forget the peace signs, load the chopper, let it rain on you. Get out my life, Pryor. Just go away.
Yeah, many tears were shed for him. Many tears were shed for him. You know, guys, I want to also take a moment, and I want to... Martavis Bryant, I need him to sit down. I need him to take a seat for this, because I need to tell him something. Hey, Martavis Bryant, listen, man. I think we're going to need to break up. I'm sorry. Like, when we first partner up, you know, like, it wasn't love at first sight. It was more like an arranged marriage, you know. Aaron was saying, you need to get this guy. You know, see what he's about. And so... I gave you a chance, and then I gave you another chance, and then I gave you many, many more chances. And what did you do? You disappointed every time. Now, there was one week where you brought me flowers, you know, you gave me a 16-point week, and, you know, I was captivated. But that's about it, you know, a relationship doesn't work on one good week. A relationship works on constantly working hard and, you know, really working with your... partner to make it work. And listen, Brian, at this point, I don't want to sound like I'm cheating on you, but I'd much rather partner up with Juju. I mean, he seems a lot more appealing, sexier. Yeah.
And he's got his license.
Yeah. But look, here's what I have to say for Brian. I will always remember the memories that we could have had, you know, and I hope he finds someone else, Brian. You know, someone who appreciates you for who you are, you know, which is, you know, a once in a blue moon, you know, great performance type of guy.
Some people love surprises, so I mean.
Yeah, and look, man, it's not me, it's you. Have a good day. I'm sorry. This was painful, guys. This was really painful. Man, it hurts.
Yeah. Now I want to talk about something as we move on, and this is the greatest thing to happen in fantasy.
Here we go.
November 1st was the greatest day in fantasy football history. Martin, what happened November 1st?
November 1st? Shoot, I don't know. Nothing special happened.
AP
Josh Gordon got
okay.
and you guys know I've been saying since September Josh Gordon is coming back.
Oh,
and everything was, and I got mocked. And in week 13, he's gonna be back.
Andres.
And for those people that don't think Josh Gordon is gonna dominate, let me remind you of how beastly he is. In 2013, in 14 games, he had 1,646 yards and 9 touchdowns. Over 16 games, that's 1,881 yards. Dwell on this. He had 3 quarterbacks, Campbell, Whedon, and Hoyer, throwing to him. Who? In his second year? And he was less than 100 yards short of breaking the record. In his second year with those scrubs throwing to him. Josh Gordon is better than Antonio Brown.
Whoa, slow it down here.
His ball skills are the best in the league, and it's not close. And in 2013, people love to use 2014.
Okay.
But in his first game, is the only time a quarterback threw over 300 yards.
What? The blasphemy I'm hearing.
120, and he had 120 yards.
Let him finish.
And
then
this is a new man. This is a new man. I am telling you. Everything points to change. And let me tell you something. You don't realize how much you love something until it's gone. And Josh Gordon has turned that corner, and when he's back, he is going to set this league on fire, and I can guarantee that.
Andre, have you felt like a void has been missing all this time?
Indeed. Oh, and by
now
the
it's
way,
being filled?
one more thing.
Okay.
For those of you that say he's been gone, he's been gone. He's 26, and I have two words for you. Michael Vick.
Yes. I mean, Michael Vick was good when he came back still, but he
good.
wasn't
He
great.
was incredible.
No.
When he was getting 5 touchdowns. He was
No,
the best
maybe
quarterback
one or
when
two.
he came back. He
Okay,
was
you're
the best
saying
quarterback.
Josh Gordon's
I don't-
gonna come back and be better, right? Now, why was he so good back then? You're saying he's better than Antonio Brown. Listen, he smoked and drank, and he admitted he did this before every game.
He was
Now
high,
listen.
putting up 200
Yes,
yards
he was
in consecutive games.
Yes, he was high
man.
in putting up these numbers. Now he's changed. He's not gonna be high. He's not gonna be drunk playing these games, and he's not gonna be as good because of this. Maybe you never know.
That is blasphemy.
Something guys to consider is maybe his nerves aren't going to be as calm, because now he doesn't have those drugs,
Guys,
getting him
in
in
the
the right
off-season-
So
mindset.
who does he have throwing to him now? It's still.
It's sure as heck not worse than Hoyer Campbell and the other
I-
scrub.
I'd
Now,
like to,
by the
yeah.
way, if you look at pictures of him, this dude is shredded. He's been staying in shape. He's been working out. I follow him on Instagram.
I tend not to look
so-
at football players' pictures without their t-shirts. Not one of my things.
Yeah, you make a love poem to Martavius.
Okay, that was a little weird.
So he hasn't played since December 21st, 2014. He is going to start practicing November 20th. Pretty much giving him the likelihood that he's going to be playing 27th of November versus the Los Angeles Rams.
What week is that? Sorry.
13.
13.
Yeah.
Yeah, and here's the thing. Let's say you get to the playoffs, and you worked your butt off. You do things, and you got your stud players or your players who got you there. Now you get to the playoffs. Are you willing to put in Josh Gordon, a guy who did nothing for you, and bench one of the guys who got you there
Depends
to the
on your
playoffs
team.
on a guy who has? Well, your team's decent, not bad at least. You made it to the playoffs, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like you have to bench someone that's at least.
Can you provide
decent.
a
That's
flex that would Josh Gordon bench over? I mean, there's like Juju Smith. Probably not.
It's so hard. Like you said, he hasn't played since 2014. How are we going to know how Josh Gordon's going to
So
play?
I sit him for one game,
Well,
and then when he gets 200 yards in that first game,
yeah, pick up Josh
start him in
Gordon.
the second game.
Pick him up.
Don't pick him up.
See what he does.
Don't
Put him on
pick
your
him
bench
up.
for the first week.
You know
Think-
what would be exciting, I will say, is if he gets traded. Now, I don't know how
No,
likely
you
that
can't
is.
trade anymore. The
Yes,
trade
you
deadline
can't trade more,
passed.
but-
Shoot, I keep forgetting that.
For-
Just ignore that part.
for next year,
Just
though,
ignore
there's
that part.
There could be a
No.
couple teams lined
The
up.
idea of him playing with a good quarterback is exciting. The idea of him back in Cleveland, even though he did well before, it just isn't that appealing. No.
Campbell, Weeden,
I would
Hoyer,
take a
remember
chance.
that.
I
All right,
will,
guys,
but
let's move
not
on
taking
here.
a chance on him.
Would you rather? Now, this is a thing we do on our show here. Is I'm gonna ask Andre and Marian here, as they'll ask me too. Would you rather have DeMarco Murray or Derrick Henry on your fantasy football team?
Oh boy.
Oh man, that's a tough one. That's
Yeah.
a tough one. Honestly, I would have to go with DeMarco Murray, and here's why. Their yards per carry is roughly, it's pretty similar.
Yeah.
I think DeMarco Murray, Henry is up by 0.2 yards a carry, but it's roughly similar. But here's the thing: DeMarco Murray's had a few injured games where he's just like hobbled.
I think
and-
he's going through two
Yeah,
injuries.
hamstring.
now.
yeah, and so I guess it's all a matter of you, but
It's a matter
it
of
would
time, I
seem
think.
that it would seem like, well, Henry, here, take the job. It's so close. Take the job. He can't seem to take the job, and I feel like if he can't take the job when the starter is hobbled, well, what happens if the starter, is in full health? That's my think. Now, I guess the other way of thinking is that DeMarco Murray will, his injury will reoccur and make things worse.
Well, the
But
thing is,
if
DeMarco
healthy,
Murray
no.
hasn't sat out a game yet. Maybe if DeMarco Murray sits out a game, Derrick Henry gets a full game chance at it, then maybe he could take over the game. But like you said, they're both splitting their 9 carries, 10 carries a game. I think if Derrick Henry got a chance to play one game fully, him in the backfield, I feel like he can put up solid fantasy points and he could take over the starting job of DeMarco Murray.
Healthy DeMarco Murray, the way Neither.
But he's not healthy?
Preferably neither. That I know it's a cheap answer, but I mean, I don't want either of them.
No, I feel like, well, I felt this way this whole time and it hasn't happened, but I feel like one of them will take over. But maybe not. Maybe not.
I got another one for you guys.
Okay.
How about this? These two
Hit me
guys,
up.
they're pretty big wide receiver names here. They were both going second round, pretty early second round, and they go by the names of T.Y. Hilton or Michael Thomas. Now, this is pretty hard decision. You might think it's not, but it is. I'll let you guys speak first, and I'll tell you guys my opinion.
Now let me tell you T.Y. Hilton's stats.
Okay.
32.5. Week before that, 1.5.
Okay.
Week before that, 2.7. Week before that, 1.9. Week before that, 17.7. And week before that, 3.
Yeah.
There is no way
Yeah.
on God's earth I am starting T.Y. Hilton with confidence. You can't start a guy that's going to get you 1 point.
You know how
And it's a likely chance of happening too by the looks of it.
You know how I said that Martavius Bryant, gave me flowers once and then ignored me the rest of the year? Well, T.Y. Hilton gave me flowers, 3 times, but ignored me the rest of the time. He's got the upside. He's gonna get a few good games. I don't know if he can get as big of games as he's gotten recently, because those are not just good. Those are great.
One game,
yeah.
not even recently.
So T.Y. Hilton actually has 3 good games. It's 23 points, 18 points, and 32 points.
Yeah, those are...
The rest of the games are below 4 points. Now, if you go look at Michael Thomas, he has 3 games with 8 points, and then he has 2 games with 14 points.
Okay.
So T.Y. Hilton is a risk it for the biscuit type of thing, but T.Y. Hilton's ranked 4th.
Let me ask you this.
Michael Thomas is ranked 23rd.
Yeah, that's
Here's how I
That's
look at
interesting.
it.
Yeah, that is.
If your team sucks, start T.Y. Hilton. If your team's good, start Michael Thomas.
Well,
because if your team sucks, you need his 30 points.
Let me ask you
You're
this.
willing to risk that.
Who did T.Y. Hilton have his good games against? Because I know one was against the 49ers. And so, I don't know if that's a great... That one was against the Texans, I believe.
Yes, that was last week.
Now, their secondary has been just, I don't know, hasn't been doing well at all. And I don't remember who's the third guy. And Cleveland.
Cleveland run defense is good.
So, I guess maybe the takeaway is when he plays a bottom 10 opponent, start him. Otherwise, bench him. That's kind of how.
So you kind of have.
By the way, real quick, Marian just got his weekly call from his mom. So.
Oh, guys, my mom's about to lecture me. It's so hard to press ignore. I can't bring myself to do it.
This is going to be my favorite question. This one's directed straight at you, Andre. Would you rather own Alvin Kamara or Kareem Hunt?
Yeah, now let's do this an interesting way, and I'll explain in a minute why I did it this way. But let's go player A and player B, okay? Player A, since week 3 we're going from here, by the way, which is 6 week, a decent sample size.
Sure.
Player A has 18 touches per game over that time period, 3.7 yards per carry, 98 yards per game from scrimmage, 0 touchdowns, 9.8 points per game, fantasy-wise, in standard. Player B has 13.2 touches per game, 6 yards per carry, 104 yards per scrimmage, 4 touchdowns, and 15.2 points per game. And I'm sure we know who's who at this point. And he's Kamara. And when you look at it like this, it's not even close. And people say, you pick Kamara, that's bold. That is not bold. He has a better coach, a better coaching scheme. He has a better yard per carry. He has more yards, more touchdowns. You take a third of Hunt's points and put it to Kamara, and then you get Kamara's total.
The only reason Kareem Hunt is ranked where he's ranked right now is because of his first 3 games.
And the only reason is name recognition. Why do you think Warriors wear Rakuten on their shirt? Why do you think Lakers wear Wish? Name recognition is what this is. And people look at Hunt and they're like, Hunt, he's a big name because of his first 2 games. As a Kamara owner, I would not trade him for Hunt.
Yeah, Hunt is a unique player. Let me throw out a few names and you guys tell me, if you were to draft today, would you draft Hunt or this guy? Okay, Melvin Gordon. Would you draft Gordon or Hunt?
I'm taking Melvin Gordon.
Yeah. Well, the first one thing about Hunt is 2 of his offensive linemen, including his center, have been out, and they just came back.
Okay, so would you still draft?
I would take Hunt over Gordon.
Okay, so I think what you're saying is you're almost more high on Alvin Kamara than you are low.
I think it's a
on
mix of both.
Hunt.
I think it's a mix of
Okay.
both. You have to remember how good Darren
Okay.
Sproles was. Was
Let me ask-
So
Lee
somebody
Sean-
got a steal from Alvin Kamara.
LeSean McCoy or Hunt?
I will take Hunt right now. I think he's more consistent. LeSean McCoy
Hunt.
he's had those 20-point games, but then he's had the 6. And
but
the
he's
2.
been picking it up lately.
Yeah, oh, oops, not for last week. 2.7
Okay,
points.
last one. I think I know. Devontae Freeman or
Oh,
Hunt.
Hunt.
Okay,
Devonta Freeman.
So Hunt is still ranked pretty high.
He's
Yes,
high.
Okay,
indeed.
okay.
But
okay.
this year, the running back situation, there's not as much good running backs, and wide receiver. It's just been really a down year for everyone.
Yeah. Certainly hasn't been the great last 5 weeks for Hunt.
All right,
right.
guys.
So, fluke or nuke? Now, this is where we talk about a player who has a performance or two that deviates from his normal sort of performances. And we want to find out, was this fluky or is this guy legit? Is he a nuke? And the guy I want to bring up is actually Marshawn Lynch. And I don't want to be too obvious, guys, but look, Marshawn Lynch, last week actually, or his last game, he looked decent on tape. I was watching that game, he looked decent. His touchdown runs were not bad. They were pretty good. He looked shifty, he ran hard, he looked decent. And I would say he had a good game, and especially fantasy-wise. However, guys, you have to be careful. Marshawn Lynch carries this name recognition. And so, I mean, you look at his first 7 games, and you look at his average, 3.8 yards a carry. Nothing great. Jalen Richard has averaged 4.3 yards a carry. I think he's the better back on that field. Now,
Really?
I think
Lynch
so.
was one of the
I
most
think so.
mysterious picks for me.
Yeah,
I
he
think-
was going early third round.
Which was
So.
absolutely
That was
insane.
crazy.
There was
Yeah.
nothing
Yeah.
except name recognition there.
Yeah, having said that, I mean, I think the one thing Marshawn Lynch has going for him is he'll get his 10 to 12, maybe more, maybe less carries, but I think that's kind of
And
where he
goal
is.
line.
And goal
But
line.
some goal, yeah. But his production, just the way he runs, it's okay. And going forward, guys, I see Marshawn Lynch as sort of a flex. That's about it.
Yeah.
Nothing better. If it was me, I'd try to sell high. He's got a bye week coming up. I try to sell high if I can.
Yeah, I don't
See
think
if he
anyone
can
would buy, honestly.
Yeah, I don't know if you would, but that's really the guy that's had one surprising good game. Well, he had a few decent ones, but this was the sort of surprising big game that he had this week.
Yeah,
Martin.
I have a fluke or real nuke. I'm gonna give you guys a nuke here. Now, he's definitely not a fluke. Marvin Jones,
Oh, yeah.
wide receiver of Lions. Let's look at just his last 3 games right here. 6 receptions in each game and over 100 yards in each game. This is really, really good numbers. He also had 3 touchdowns along these 3 weeks. And going forward, I don't think he's gonna score 100 yards every game. But if he can get 80 yards, 70 yards, and a TD here and there, he's a solid start. Wide receiver 2, but after these past 3 game performances, he's been performing wide receiver 1. Also, Golden Tate on that team has been performing good, but Marvin Jones has been outplaying Golden Tate.
Now, you have to remember, last year, early on in the season, Jones gave you a similar tease as he's giving
He
you.
did.
Yeah,
But right
that's
now,
true.
it's consistency he's giving you guys.
Yeah.
So if you have him on your fantasy team, guys, he's a must start next week. And going forward, he's a wide receiver 2 start for you guys.
Yeah. I think one thing that benefits Tate and Marvin Jones is right now is I think their running game's been sort of below average, not that great, and I think that actually benefits the wide receivers.
Amar
They throw a
Abdullah is
little
getting
bit.
around,
Yeah.
as you say, Lamar Miller range 8 to
By the way,
10.
Actually, last night, I have never been so disappointed in a running back in my life. He had a chance to take that role,
Who are we
and he
talking
was
about?
absolutely horrific.
We're talking about
Abdullah.
Mir.
Yeah.
Yeah, he fumbled, I believe.
And
at
that
the
was
goal
a
line.
terrible
Yep.
fumble.
Yep.
Stafford's playing really good. That's definitely a big key why Marvin Jones and Golden Tate are doing so well. But then again, last week they did play Green Bay. So
Yeah, Marvin Jones, I just want to point out his name, I can't, it's Marvin Jones. I think that's the thing. It's like, you think of Marvin Jones, it's Marvin Jones. He's okay. But yeah, he's been a lot better, and I could see him, going forward, I could see him as a low-end wide receiver 2. That's where I see
I have
him.
him as wide receiver 2, but at the high end.
Sorry, low end as in the high end, maybe is what I mean. By low end, I mean on the better side. I'm sorry, I think I meant high end also.
Okay.
High end, yes, wide receiver too.
Yeah, and I have a guy also. This one was a little tough for me, but it's Juju Smith. Juicer.
Okay.
And, yeah, and he has his license now, so I mean, obviously he won't be as tired.
As of today, guys.
But the interesting thing is, for me, is Bryant going to stay out of the picture or not being involved a lot? And it looks like that's the case. And they have shown that their wide receiver 2 can put up incredible numbers. Last week, 7 catches, 194 yards, 1 touchdown. The week before that, 2 catches, 39 yards, 1 touchdown. And what's interesting is the role he has filled was similar to when Martavius Bryant was putting up numbers. In 2014, Bryant had 8 TDs in 10 games, 6 TDs in 11 games. The year after that, 2015, and he was averaging, I believe, 2015 around 16 yards per catch, and 2014, 21 yards per catch. And he could fill those shoes.
Yeah.
And if he does, he's a wide receiver 2 without a doubt.
But after all these years, the guy getting older there is Ben Roethlisberger.
Yeah.
Now
and
this year he has
question.
went down like crazy, and it's affecting. You can see that it's affecting Juju Smith. The only guy it's not affecting is Antonio Brown.
Even him, he's
but he's still getting his own.
Yeah, I know you said Martavius Bryant wasn't involved, and I don't like Martavius Bryant personally. I broke up with him, guys. It was a rough breakup, by the way. You know, he gave me quite a tantrum and everything. Anyway, but I do think he could actually sort of take away from the production of Juju Smith. Martavius not gonna do much, I think, but he could take away some of those snaps and get involved. That's my only sort of reservation. But I do like Juju Smith.
Yeah, he's a deep threat on a high-flying offense, and that's always a good thing.
All right, guys, fill in the blank. I'm gonna be giving you guys short little answers, and you guys fill in the blank.
All right.
A good punishment for the loser of your fantasy football league would be.
Now, it depends. It depends how. If you have an intense league, the best one I've heard is a tattoo of the winner's choice.
Man, that's too hardcore for me.
Where is this tattoo
That is
located?
way too hardcore for me.
Where's this tattoo located?
If we say that, we can't post this show. Now, I think the winner picks that too. We've seen things like unicorns and things like that. The winner's
Making up
face.
some milkshakes or something.
And if I was the winner, I don't know why I'd want my face on the loser's like butt or something like that. But I mean, you know.
Yeah, I think just don't be cliche maybe, and by cliche like the guys holding up the sign. I guess you could.
I like public
you
shaming though.
You do like public
I like
shaming.
public shaming.
I don't know. It feels a little cliche.
Interesting.
For me.
All right.
It might be cliche. Another one I really like is a huge bumper sticker on the loser's car that says something like "I suck at fantasy football."
I really like that. Yeah.
Okay, that one's.
Next one here, guys. The number 1 quarterback at the end of the year will be.
Wow.
I'll give you guys this one. Carson Wentz will be the number 1 quarterback at the end of the year.
The Carson Wentz hype is
Guys,
here.
he's 8-1. He's impressing. I'm not just saying that because I have him in a few of my leagues, but he's been performing week in and week out, guys.
Now, let's reference here credibility. You also said Paul Richardson's is top 5 the rest of season.
Well, let's forget about that. Let's forget about that one, guys.
That's like Super Bowl prediction.
No, but that's not a ridiculous bold. I mean,
yeah. Well,
no, I don't think that's a ridiculous prediction. I actually agree with you because Tom Brady hasn't had the touchdowns. Yeah. Wilson's line is the most pathetic thing I have ever seen.
Drew Brees is performing. Aaron Rodgers is out. Yeah, the list goes on.
Deshaun Watson was easily number 1, but now, unfortunately, he's injured.
I think, believe it or not, if the Seahawks running game continues to struggle.
But that's also a negative.
It's a positive for Russell Wilson's stats, I think, fantasy-wise. I think if they continue to struggle, their defense continues to be a little disappointing and give points. I think Russell could sneak in. I just want to quickly mention, I definitely don't see Tom Brady, and actually, I've been a little disappointed in Tom Brady this year.
Yeah, he's outside top 5.
Yeah, the thing is, Tom Brady's been good. He's good. But let's keep in mind, you draft Tom Brady along with Aaron Rodgers, in their own that category.
By the way,
and you expect to be great, not good. He's been good. So
here's something about Tom Brady that's actually really interesting. Over the last, I believe, 4 weeks, he's averaging around 16 points per game. And that's pretty bad for a quarterback.
Yeah, and I think he'll step it up a little from 16 just because we know Tom Brady. But I don't know if he'll be great. He'll be good.
All right, guys. The thing that disappointed me the most this week is,
and I already mentioned this earlier, it's going to be Amir Abdullah because he had a chance to run away. And the 1-yard fumble was absolutely terrible. If you didn't see it, he reached out for the goal line and the ball just popped out. He had a few chances to bounce outside or he cut inside.
Yeah.
And he had, I believe, 21 carries and like 47 yards.
I'm trying to decide if it was the Julio drop,
Oh, that was
especially after
terrible.
I talked about how they need to target him more and like it's not Julio's fault and he drops one, or if it's actually just Green Bay's running game. And just because it shows how frustrating fantasy can be sometimes, and like when you think you have things figured out, no one knows.
How about the Seahawks defense there?
The Seahawks defense? How were they? Oh, at the end. Oh, I'm trying to forget about that one. That one. That's true. That one might triumph at all.
Uncharacteristic.
Yeah.
Now,
It's not.
No, I
For
think,
me,
guys, I think our
that
listeners.
I highly disagree with.
I
that.
think our listeners
It is
might have figured it
extremely
out.
characteristic.
Our listeners must know that we're Seahawks fans. But
all right, guys. I'm gonna give you guys another one here. If you were to start one running back from the Cleveland Browns, who would it be?
are they still in the league? Cleveland Browns?
Now, do you have to
Still
start
around?
them as
I
a
haven't seen them
punishment or
on.
something? Because
No, listen. Maybe your team's not so good. You have a flex spot open. Who would you put in there? Duke Johnson or Isaiah Crowell?
by the way, if Duke Johnson is like your RB2, you need a new hobby. Now, look, I think it depends, and I'm gonna make this simple: PPR, Duke Johnson, standard Crowell. Duke Johnson's not. He's had big plays, and that's where his relying is. Otherwise, you're looking at maybe 4 points.
I was gonna say I was leaning towards Duke Johnson, but Isaiah Crowell did have a good game, surprisingly against
I would put
Minnesota
good
in his
in-
last
in-
game.
in
And Minnesota's
apostrophes.
defense is not.
Yeah, that's
Not
true. An
horrible.
asterisk there too. Well, against the best defense, he was his best performance of the year.
That's
against
right.
Minnesota.
Yeah,
50.
11 carries,
Yeah.
though only 11 carries, 64 yards.
Yeah, I
in-
choose their quarterback.
In PPR, in PPR, it's absolutely easy, and it's not even close. In standard, it's close, but I mean,
All right,
Crowell.
Martin, I have a fill in the blank for you. Next week we have what coming up?
Oh, this is gonna be our
Right.
own here, Andre, giving us a rap. Yes, you heard me right, a rap about Josh Gordon.
now let me chime in. This was not my plan. Marian peer pressured me into doing this, but I also do have an album coming out in 2 weeks.
Wow, I wanted you to rap. I didn't want you to rap about Josh Gordon, but I'll take it.
Now, if you
We'll
make
take
me
it,
rap,
guys.
I am going to rap about something you would hate me rapping about.
So guys,
Great,
tune
great.
in next week to hear Andre rap about Josh Gordon. Thanks for watching. Again, follow us on Twitter at FF Language and visit our website ff-language.com for more fantasy football news. We out.
Bye.